Hi guys, I'm back again with another video. I'm actually excited to be back here again. And I just want to say thank you guys because I've been getting a lot of grateful or thankful messages from people saying that they appreciated the videos that I'm making because they're as simple as possible. And to be honest, the real reason why I started this was to make everything as simple. So to see that goal is being realized is what makes me happy. So I just want to say thank you guys and keep on supporting this channel because almost every day I get a notification about somebody new who subscribed and many more other things. So I just want to say thank you so much and continue doing what you do best, and I will also continue doing what I do best. So from this week, you would remember that I did a market breakdown. So I feel like it's important to reflect back on it, on what happened so that we can see what actually happened. But a problem that I'm having at the moment is I'm somebody who usually keeps my befores and my afters. But now, since I've been hands-on that much on YouTube making these videos, I end up forgetting screenshotting the befores and the afters. Because I realized only this week or before when I was preparing, when I was doing, when I was going to do this video, that I did not have the befores, the screenshots of the befores now, because we're more like gonna do the afters now. But at least there is that video, which I think you can check it out and then come back to this one so that you can see how this pairs played out. But if you see on my right, which is the pairs and everything, all the pairs that I covered on the market breakdown video that I uploaded on Tuesday, and then I have the Bitcoin and NAS 100, which were not there for some reasons I will explain later. But anything else in order, it's everything that I analyzed on the previous video. So I'm going to erase the drawings and start from scratch so that you can actually see what is it that I was saying, like what was my anticipation of the markets this week and how they actually played up from Tuesday up until Friday when the market closed. So without any further waste of time, let's get to that. So we had on the DXY, the dollar index. Remember, guys, I always say that the DXY gives us an indication as to how the dollar is going to perform, right? This means that a weak dollar means a weak DXY means a weak dollar, a strong DXY means a strong dollar, right? So if we go to the DXY, I'm gonna remove the drawings because I remember quite clearly what I said. So on the DXY, we had this uptrending market and we had that touch over there. And then because nothing is clear at the top, so there's no point in saying in putting a line, a horizontal line there because there's no price action. And we had that previous high. So it's important to zoom out, guys, so you can actually be able to see what is going on in the market. Because if you can even see it on a larger version, you would notice that this is a head and shoulder type of pattern that was being formed here by the dollar index. But that is not important currently. What is important is us going into the current price so that we can understand what is going on. Actually, I thought that I was on the daily time frame, but I'm currently on the 4-hour time frame. So when you're in the 4-hour time frame, the whole point is to understand what is going on inside this playground, right? So if you go to the actual price now, because I've realized that I'm already on the 4-hour time frame. So you would remember that if you did watch the video that I had this ascending channel at the top, and I talked about an emerging head and shoulder that I was seeing at the time, which was going to be clear on the 1-hour time frame, because as you can see, the market, what it did there, it gave us, it touched that high for one last time before actually giving us the selling opportunities. And by looks of things, we are looking at the probability of the DXY continuing going to the downside, because I anticipated the sells even during the week, as you can see on the screenshot. So let's get into that now on the 1-hour time frame. So if you could remember, based on, you would remember that the DXY, this is where the price was at the time, right? And I think it was somewhere around about somewhere on these areas, right? And I did talk about the possibility of an emerging head and shoulder, but I thought that it was going to form at this high, right? So let me tell you something. What the market does sometimes, it gives you a structure that is clear. And you would think that right from this resistance, because it was the previous high, you would think that from that point initially, it was indeed going to give us that right shoulder. If you did not watch that video, please do check it out, because I totally forget to make the screenshots because I would be uploading them. Yeah. So you would remember that I had that type of thing that I was looking out for on the DXY. And it took its time, because I would say between the once if this I'm not sure if this video did it on Monday or on Tuesday, but within the first few days it actually wanted to go to the upside for one last time to give us first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth touch at the top before actually giving us those selling opportunities. So the market does that sometimes, guys, so that it can get enough strength to actually push the price into the direction that it is actually intended to. And also last week there was a lot of fundamental news that were taking place, so that could also have an effect, which is taking some positions out, stop losses, before actually going into the intended direction. And then what happened, the rest was history. The market finally gave us a clear now head and shoulder pattern that I always say that these are the type of patterns that you need to look out for when the market is about to reverse, because as you can see, the head and shoulder that I did talk about on the actual video actually did play out, but it didn't play out at the time we had anticipated that it was going to play out on. It actually gave us this small, again, another small version again of a head and shoulder at the top, and a correction that was actually confirming to us that now we're going to go to the downside. So I will also do a market breakdown probably tomorrow as to what is most likely to happen next, so that I don't make this video that long. But if I can highlight it at the current moment, you would see that we're currently at resistance, right? And then, as I always say, that when the market is broken out, guys, look at what is it doing, which is after the breakout, is it forming higher highs, higher lows, higher lows. And then if it's breaking out of a structure that was ascending and is about to go down, look at what's happening outside. Is it trending? Is it forming lower lows, lower highs, lower highs? Because by looks of things now, you can see that impulse move is a correction. Lower low, lower high, lower low, low. Okay, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. So we might possibly be getting another lower high there before the market actually continues going to the downside. So this is what I'm anticipating on the DXY on the week ahead. All right. So let's go now to the second one, which was euro. Okay, it was gold. It was gold. I thought it was euro USD. So let's go back to the daily time frame so that you can actually see what is it that I was anticipating on the DXY. I mean on gold. So you would remember on gold, let me just erase this. So gold didn't, it was actually a fake out. It did not actually break that support level that I thought it was going to break, but there is still the possibility of a double bottom that I did talk about, because as you can see, we have this ascending structure, then impulse move correction, impulse move correction, impulse move correction. Then if we're treating this now as an impulse, then this is a correction. So sooner or later, gold will give us those buys, because this is a probability of a double bottom that I did see on the lower time frames. And I actually did make a video that I did upload on TikTok about the possibility of a double bottom. But let's go now to the 4-hour time frame so that you can see everything clearly. So on the previous video, you would remember that the market was somewhere around about here. I think it was somewhere around about here on the very first video that I did upload. And then I did highlight a sort of a resistance level there that looked like this. And before we had this level, I think I had two support levels where I said that, no, it was not there. I'm sorry. The price at the time was somewhere around about, yeah, this was the price the market was. Please do and go check that video out on TikTok, because that's where everything is going to be clear. And then I did highlight that supportive level that the gold was actually playing in between. So the market was some, let's go to the 1-hour time frame. Maybe it's going to be much more clearer there. So yeah, we had something like this on gold, and then the market was somewhere around about here. And I think I had two support levels, and then another one was here. And I remember saying that should the market not fail to reject at this one, then it was most probably going to reject on this one. And then if you could recall quite clearly, I did talk about the possibility of gold reversing and going to the downside by means of exactly this double bottom that ended up forming, right? And I also did say that should the market not reject on the first support level, then it was going to give us something like a correction of some sort like this, and then go to the upside. And it actually did that. So we can say gold play, DXY played out the way I had anticipated it. And also gold, yeah, currently did play out as I was anticipating it. But as the week was going ahead, I noticed that gold was having some sort of a resistance level here. And you would also recall on the video that I made about pending orders that I did emphasize the way, you know, the way this level is strong and should be respected, because I remember saying that if we can use a sell stop, then that means should gold fail to break below, then we could use a sell stop here, hoping that the market was going to go to the downside. But that did not happen. As a result, gold ended up going to the upside. But now when it was somewhere around about here, I was really convinced that seeing the break of this candle, then maybe it was indeed going to go to the upside and give us those buying opportunities. But if the whole point here, it was this portion, because according to the market breakdown that I made, this was the point of interest that I had, which gold ended up respecting the setup that we had. Even more, you could see the reason why gold bought here is because of this, because we had this corrective movement. Because if the market is approaching a certain level correctively, best believe that it's most likely going to change direction. And if you can even forget now about what's going on in the past, you would see that we have a strong support level here. So you have impulse move, this is a correction, and then this is another reversal pattern that I always talk about, which is your inverse head and shoulder. And like I always say, that when the market breaks out of a certain pattern or structure, look at how it behave outside of that structure. Because what I notice is that when the market does that, if indeed it's going to go to the upside, when it breaks out of a pattern that is a buying signal, it's going to form higher highs, higher lows, higher lows, and then that's when you're going to know that it's indeed going to go to the upside. Similarly, if, for example, now gold could break out of this correction that I see right now, pay attention whether is it forming lower lows, lower highs, lower highs, because that's how you go to trade with the trend and not against the trend, right? So let's move forward now to Euro USD, which was the best and the clear one. Remember that I did highlight the importance of this gray support level, because overall we're in a downtrend, but the market gave us this touch at the bottom. And then if you look at how it was approaching the support level, it was approaching it correctively. And if you look at the daily time frame, because this is a bullish engulfing candle on the daily time frame, because what happens on the daily time frame, guys, is the same thing that is going to happen on the lower time frames, but it's going to happen on the lower time frames way quicker than it is going to happen on the daily time frame. So if, for example, on the daily time frame, you saw this bullish candle, then going to the lower time frames, we already have an idea as to what is going on, because the buy that is taking place here is going to take place on the lower time frames, but at the time or the frequency of those time frames, because these time frames work differently. What's happening on the daily takes a whole 24 hours for each and every candle to open up until it's closed. Then the same thing happens on the lower time frames according to the relative time frame. But if you go to the 4-hour time frame right now, you could remember that I did say two things about Euro USD. If I can just delete this, I said that we must be careful here, because if this is where our support level if our support level was supposed to be, then we would need to be cautious of whether is this not a break, retest, then the continuations. However, I did talk about the possibility that if this is indeed a support level that Euro USD was at, then there are more chances that Euro USD was going to go to the upside. And remember, guys, I always say that what is important is how the market is approaching a level of support or resistance that matters, because if it approaches it in a corrective manner, then that is most likely that is going to reverse. And then same thing when it happens at resistance. If we approach a strong resistance correctively, best believe that sooner or later we're going to have that reversal. So this is what happens on Euro USD, because if we're treating this as an impulse, then this was a reversal pattern. This is clear, it's nice, it's beautiful. And like I said, remember the candle that I just shown you on the daily time frame? It was a bullish engulfing candle. And look at this, is a strong support level. There was no other support that we had despite this one. And then the market ended up going to the upside, breaking this small resistance level over here with a nice bullish engulfing candle. If you want to, if you're a swing trader, there is no reason why you shouldn't have entered this final position, because we're at support, we have a reversal pattern. Even inside, I remember talking about an emerging inverse head and shoulder that was emerging, because remember an inverse head and shoulder is like this, and then you end up getting the retest and then the continuations. This is exactly what happened here. It does not have to be pitch up perfect, as I always say, but if you notice, you would see that we have this left leg, the head, the right shoulder, the breakout, the retest, and the continuations. This is the beauty of following price action, guys, because everything is clear. It's everything that you do know. But as I always say, that it's not about the pattern, it's about how you use the pattern. And as you can see on the screenshots, but to add even more, you could remember that on the same Euro USD that I was talking about here, on the same Euro USD that I was telling you about, because it's become more clear right now. I remember the price was somewhere around about here, right? And I remember talking about the possibility of Euro USD coming back down before actually going to the upside, right? And I remember I had a black line over that was here. And I did say that on the video that I was recording about buy stops, sell stops, and everything, that if you miss out on this buy, then you shouldn't panic or be like you missed out, because should the market break this previous high, then that is when you're going to start looking for buying opportunities. And I remember saying that, and I actually bought Euro USD here, but I think because of fundamentals, it ended up taking me out on the stop loss somewhere around about here. Because as you can see, as I always say that, guys, pay attention to what the market does or the price does when it has broken out of the structure. Because if you follow the trend, it's easy to use it like to your favor. So by that, look at this, higher high, higher low, broke out in terms of a higher high. Then the reason why it ended up selling, it was coming back to give us what? Another higher low before actually going to the upside to give us another higher high. So those are the type of things that you need to pay attention to. And this could be way 90% rule, because the 90% rule says that the next impulse must cover 90% of the previous impulse move, right? So this is what I'm talking about, guys, when I'm saying pay attention to what happens after the breakout of a structure. And it's fair to say that Euro USD also played out the way I had anticipated it. So guys, check out these videos like the previous one, because that's how you're going to understand what I'm talking about here. And also do check out the videos that I post on TikTok, because it's almost the same thing, but I just take certain parts and then upload it on TikTok, and then the full videos here, obviously. So if you look at Euro USD, it actually played out as possible, because you remember that I did say talk about the importance of this pattern because of how it always plays out and how I love it. So it's fair to say that Euro USD also played out the way I had anticipated that it was going to play out. EURJPY, that is the position that I had, and it played out to it was beautiful, guys, right? So let's go to the daily time frame so that we can unpack what happened. We can unpack what happened. So you would remember, guys, that when I was analyzing EURJPY, the market was exactly on this candle. We did not have these three candles that we had, and I had that previous high over there. And then I did talk about the importance of waiting until we break that one before we continue, but that is going to be clear on the 4-hour time frame, right? So if you remember, I remember exactly, guys, I had the support line, and then I had also this mid-term and that one, because this was a take profit one. So you can see that the market broke this previous low, and then when I realized that I'm above now, I've broken this previous swing point. I will also make a video on swing points, which is when I'm talking about swing points, I'm talking about areas like this when the market breaks a previous high and then not coming back to it anymore. Because look at what happened here. We had this previous high, then the market broke out, gave us a retest, bullish nice engulfing candle. So I thought to myself, nah, I need to take this position, as you can see on the screenshots, right? And then what I also liked about this, that the risk was low. And I'm also using this other app that I got from one of my friends, which is FX channel, where I would calculate my stop loss, my take profit, and everything. So I liked how the risk is compared to the reward, right? Which is also another element of trading that is very important, which is risk management, right? But I'm not perfect, guys, right? It's still, you know what I mean? So let's drop it to the 1 hour time frame, right? Because that's where things are going to be clear. So I did see that on the 4 hour we had already broken out, and then it was giving me a bullish engulfing candle. So I realized that the market was just repeating itself, because we had this previous swing point. The market broke out, retest, and then it broke this one. I thought, nah, we are indeed going to go to the upside. And then this is where I had the buying position, and then the market eventually went to the upside. So it did play out as I had anticipated it. So let's move on now to another one, which is GBP. Oh, beautiful. GBP AUD, right? So remember that I said with EURUSD that we have this bearish structure, which is clear. It's possible. It's for everyone to see lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and then we had this strong sort of resistance level that we needed to pay attention to, because we couldn't just ignore that. So going to the 4 hour time frame, guys, I will emphasize this as possibly as I can. Remember that I did say that it would not be a great idea to buy GBP AUD at this point, due to the fact that in as much as inside this whole structure we have this reversal pattern that always plays out, but we need to be cautious of this level of resistance, because it's a strong one. And if you would buy here, that would be a risk entry, because in as much as we have this reversal pattern, but at the end of the day, the overall structure was a bearish market. And I did say that if you want to buy this market, it would be best to wait until the market breaks this line, this 17368. Then it's then that we would know that the market is going to go to the upside. So at the same time, I remember saying that in as much as sometimes a pattern is an uptrend, but for as long as it is still inside there, in as much as it's a reversal, but for as long as the market is still inside that structure, whether it's bearish or bullish, without the breakout, the market is going to respect that structure. This is exactly what I'm talking about, because overall we had this bearish structure, and then even though inside we had this reversal pattern that usually serve as a bullish reversal or represents buyers in the market, but we also had to be cautious, to be smart. Now this is where things like timing come in. Nobody can teach you timing, guys. It has to come from within sometimes, because I'm pretty sure that this is not something a lot of people could realize. But if you open your eyes, or you are always willing to learn, and you are patient enough in the market, you would realize exactly what I'm talking about here, that this is a bearish structure. Yes, we do have the reversal pattern, but for as long as we are still inside this bearish structure, despite the fact that it's a bullish reversal, but we must honor and respect that we are still inside a bearish trend. As a result, we have to comply with what we know about bearish trends. And what I'm talking about here, it's exactly what happened. Because should you have bought today, I wouldn't blame anyone for buying this market, because this is a reversal pattern. And look at the candle that broke out there. I wouldn't blame them. But you need to open your eyes next time that we also had that trend line there that was signaling. And remember, with a trend line and the resistance, those trend lines of resistance are there for an intention, that the market were still downtrending. And look at the candlestick that we're forming there. It's mostly reversal patterns, right? Which is your dojis and your pin bars. And then what happened afterwards, the rest was history. GBP AUD gave us a nice double bottom to actually confirm that we're still in a downtrend, and then you actually went to the downside. So if we go to the 1 hour time frame, that is where I wasn't monitoring this pattern, to be honest. So I was surprised when I opened my charts when I was about to record this video as to what happened. And I did, you would remember me talking about the importance of this level, because the market was playing along this level for a very long time. And then when it finally broke it never came back. So this is what happens, guys. Sometimes when you have a strong support resistance or level, and if the market is playing in that support or resistance for a very long time, best believe that When the market finally leaves that level, it will leave it it will not hesitate to leave it, and it will leave it in an impulsive manner, because despite the fact that we are in a downturn and wara, but you would realize that this was a correction. This is an impulse, this is a correction, this is a continuation. So this is what happened on GBP AUD, right? So like I said, guys, if you're still with me, please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share down below, and go check out those videos on TikTok, and also do watch the previous market breakdown that I did so that you can understand what I'm talking about. Yeah. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below. I love you all.